Hello and welcome to the Difficult Opinions podcast. I'm Alan, and this is the Daily Headlines episode for October 1st, 2025, where I take a run through what I think are the biggest stories of the day. First up, Pete Hegseth lectures the military leadership. Almost no day goes by without worse news than the day before, and today is no exception. There's a serious movement by Trump's regime to militarize daily life, which was clearly evident yesterday when Hegseth summoned over 800 U.S. military leaders to Virginia for an insipid speech. Both Hegseth and Trump addressed the group, who were silent and rigidly planted in their seats, showing no emotions throughout the duration of the speech. The key headline was the expectation that the U.S. military will fight criminals in the streets of America's cities. Trump's wish to stop crime in urban areas, so far only cities run by his political enemies, the Democrats, is pretty much a farcical joke, and he is portraying it as his most important policy initiative, second only to immigration. Next, ICE is violently attacking people. Not to be overshadowed by their idiot prince, ICE agents continue brutalizing undocumented residents and now U.S. citizens alike, with a steady escalation in their violent behavior. A woman attempting to calmly explain her husband's legal status was seriously injured by a masked ICE agent, who then was briefly removed from his job, only to be reinstated the next day without consequence. Also, a journalist suffered a serious head injury and was hospitalized after being assaulted by an ICE agent in the hall of a New York City federal building. If you're a MAGA member, it's now getting very close to you having immunity from your crimes, and this is an appalling situation. I can't imagine America with masked secret police grabbing people off the streets, injuring and attacking citizens and journalists, and the whole country isn't on fire because of this. It's astonishing. Okay, Trump promises fake drug price reductions. Trump held a fake press conference to announce fake price reductions for prescription drugs manufactured by Pfizer, the company that makes the mRNA COVID vaccine that most MAGA cretins believe will kill you. Trump said over a dozen times the price reductions will be in the thousands of percent, as high as 1,500%. No one tells the Naked King that a price reduction of more than 100% would make the product free, and if his promise materializes, Pfizer will have to pay people thousands of dollars to take their drugs, which, of course, is not going to happen, and there are not thousands of percents of reductions. There's going to be some drugs that will become more competitive with worldwide cost standards. Pfizer produces about 350 drugs, and some versions of those, or some, select number of those, will have some price reductions. There's this talk of like an index to global pricing where the United States will pay some percentage of the index. I don't know if that's the case. We'll have to see. And as usual, Trump said, next week, we will find out what drugs are included and what the prices are. Not that day during the press conference, but next week. So I think it's probably never we will find that out, considering next week never comes in Trump world. Right then, the U.S. government has shut down. Donald Trump has decided to move forward with firing thousands of federal employees because the U.S. Congress has failed to fund the government. And so all non-essential operations have stopped, clearing the way for mass job losses as promised by Russell Vought. He's the head of the Office of Management and Budget and the architect of Project 2025. Republicans control the entire government, and more specifically, they control the rules of procedure in the U.S. Senate. Those rules set by MAGA Republicans require 60 votes to pass any legislation or funding resolutions. They don't have 60 votes to pass the budget, nor do they have enough votes to change the Senate rules to reduce that vote threshold to pass the budget resolution that would keep the government open. So MAGA pivots to blaming Democrats for the shutdown while lying and explaining to their right-wing voters who will be losing their health care that the liberals are demanding I don't know, solar panels on every house and free transgender surgery for everyone, and everyone in exchange for their support of the budget agreement. It's laughable. It's pretty outrageous. I don't know if I've ever met a person in my life who I think would believe that, right? You work with people, you have family, you have friends, acquaintances, and I've never actually come across a person, in my estimation, that would believe that the Republicans are unable to pass a budget because the Liberal Party is demanding transgender surgery for, quote, everyone. And I don't know how anyone could believe such a thing. So we're in a strange place right now. Anyhow, the government is shut down. A lot of people are going to get fired. It's going to be an absolute catastrophe for millions of people's livelihood and likely the economy as well. So we're going to have to stay tuned on that. All right. Ukrainian nuclear power plant is in trouble. News from Ukraine warns us of a possible problem with the Zaporizhia nuclear power station, which has been without main power for a week. This is the 10th time this has happened since the war has started. Diesel generators have been keeping the safety systems online since the Russian forces disrupted the electrical lines powering the station with their artillery shelling. The generators are ineffective and a total power outage is on the horizon. This is Europe's largest nuclear power plant, and it could be in big trouble if the power isn't restored soon. I don't know if everyone knows how nuclear power is generated. It's pretty simple. You have some highly radioactive nuclear material. In this case, they call them rods. And these rods are inside a pool of very deep and cool water. And when they're in that, their radiation is not dangerous. It's simply, in the water. And when these rods are extended out of the water, then they develop heat, and that boils water, and that makes steam, and steam generates the electricity. So these hot rods need to be constantly cooled. Otherwise, they are so hot they will melt down the nuclear power plant, very similar to Chernobyl. Now, I might have that right, I might have that wrong, but it's pretty on point. I'm fairly sure. Tell me if you comment on this, if I'm wrong, but I think that's right. And it's outrageous because normally a nuclear power plant produces power, and part of that electricity is used to run the plant and also run the safety systems and make sure that these nuclear rods are kept safe. And the generation of nuclear power is very safe. It's the storing of the spent rods that's not so great that environmentalists and everyone should be very concerned about, but the generating of the nuclear power is quite safe. So let's see what happens. I can't believe Trump thinks Ukraine started this war and is somehow, sabotaging their own nuclear power plant. It's just, wow. I don't know. I can't think about it. It's so terrible. And lastly, the U.S. District Court has blocked Trump's union busting. He had sought to designate 2/3 of the federal government workers as critical for national security, which would prevent them from joining or starting a labor union. He did this because he wants to fire them, meaning the people he claimed are essential to national security, he wants to fire them. And he can fire them if they're not in the union, or maybe they can fire them easier than being in the union. This is obviously a strategy is a loser, and this judge ruled against stripping the workers of their unionization rights. I've said for however long anyone wants to ask me, or as long as I remember, unionization has to be a constitutional right. It has to be the basic part of being a citizen of the country is to be able to form a labor union and protect your right to your work. And so far, that's not the case. And if the United States is going to move past this capitalistic situation that it finds itself in today, unionization has to be one of the main issues that Democrats run on and enact. And it's going to transform people's lives if they have job security. So we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully all these people won't get fired, but you never know. I think this is almost inevitable at this time, and that's really sad. Okay, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with more headlines, and until then, be well, everyone. Cheers.